and actual documents are signed. That goes for sales. That goes for just about everything. Like, the worst thing you could do is have like really, really high expectations and not even get anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it must have felt like. And
Yeah.
what made Morning Brew such a partner that made you so excited and so, like, obviously you had put out there to work with Austin 2.5 years prior, but why Morning Brew?
They were our role models. This was who we were building the company. Like, they were the inspiration for how we wanted to build this company, right? Like, it was like they sold a company for $75+ million to Business Insider. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do it bigger than that? That was the idea, right? It was like these two young cats who just figured it out. Me and Michael are not any less capable. Why can't we? And so from that standpoint, it was like, okay, there are role models, but strategically, it's also a really good fit, right? Because they had newsletters down, so zone distribution, and they were focused on millennials. We had the short form video side down, but we were focused on Gen Z, and naturally that is going to be the next most important demographic from a monetization standpoint. And so we perfectly kind of fit that piece in the puzzle where you can kind of hit both targets and not have to take a big risk from the brand, right? Like, we don't have to play this facade of trying to create another vertical focused on millennials, and they don't have to do that with Gen Z per se. We can be authentically ourselves, and it ends up just being a great partnership.
Does it frustrate you that Michael is the face of the brand, and when people think of our future, they think of him, and you are the unsung hero in many ways, and you are behind the scenes, pulling the strings, making the operations happen? And that's part of the reason why I wanted to have you on the show, because I'm like, this dude is doing so much behind the scenes, and the world doesn't know, and you just need a little more light on you.
Well, brother, I appreciate you having me, first of all, right? Probably should have said that in the first 10 seconds we started, but no, I would say that in the beginning, it did frustrate me a little bit, but this was because I was used to kind of being the main character in all my other ventures. I had never taken the back seat to anyone before. But what I realized is, like, this was Michael's inception. He is the one who came up with the idea and set up the foundation, the ground floor for us to actually be successful. What ended up being really interesting is that we complement each other really, really well, even though our personalities are so different, right? I'm much more quiet in nature. Michael's much more loud and eccentric in some ways. But after a period of time, I knew that, like, if I just keep doing the work behind the scenes and I keep doing it to the best of my ability, people will recognize that I bring true value to this operation, right? It is, every time people got to know both of us, they were like, I see why it works, right? This is not necessarily just a one-man show. It's like, you guys do work in conjunction. So yeah, I think it frustrated maybe me in a little bit, but I didn't really have a good reason to be frustrated. This was his work. This was something he created from the beginning.
And at what point did you feel comfortable knowing that if you just did the work, the praise, or it would actually work?
I think as the agency started to scale and we started doing bigger numbers, and it became a bigger business than our advertising business.
Okay, so explain that for people who might not know, because we kind of skipped over that. The agency and switching from advertising to agency.
So what ended up happening, how the agency started was not intentional whatsoever. My First Million had a contest at that time that whoever made the most viral clip and created the biggest account would win $5,000. And it's really funny because Michael called me while he was walking around his house. Like, this is COVID times. And he's like, dude, I'm going to fucking win this thing. And I was like, all right, let's fucking do it then.
You weren't together.
We weren't really together at that point in time.
Talking back.
Just talking back and forth. And it was just like ideas back and forth on like how we'd go about this. Ended up winning the contest, and it was like stable money. And it was like, dude, why the hell are we not scaling this out? Like, we're already doing this on our own channels. Like, we can very much leverage this talent and these insights and bring it to enterprise customers who are going to pay us so well. And we don't have to worry about, oh shit, I hope this advertising deal closes or else we're going to get fucked next month. And so that ended up being the first piece. Then I ended up winning the entire HubSpot contract. So we got all of their original, shows, did deals with other folks as well. And it just became this opportunity where I realized, it's like, okay, now it's not just me doing the operations behind the scenes and keeping, everything above the water, but I am actually creating revenue for this business. It was the fact that I could now tangibly see it in numbers that gave me the confidence to be like, I just need to keep at this for long enough, similar to the podcast thing, and people will see it.